Hello and welcome to VLearn. This is Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 12, the early Vedic society of earliest time of 8th century AD. So, topics to be covered are introduction, sources, the Aryan invention, economy, society, polity, religion. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम लोग बात करते हैं कि हमारा वैदिक सोसाइटी कौन सी थी. ये वो टाइम था जब हमारे पास ऋग्वेद, सामवेद, अयुर्वेद वो वेद्स आए थे. सो ऋग्वेद में कुछ अपनी डेफिनेशन लिखी होती थी, सामवेद में अपने कुछ फीचर्स थे, यजुर्वेद में अपने थे, अर्थवेद में अपने होते थे. सो आज हम इस पर्टिकुलर सेशन में इन सारे वेद्स को रीड करने वाले हैं, प्लस हम उनका इकोनॉमी पे कैसा इफेक्ट पड़ता था, सेकेंडली हमारी सोसाइटी कैसी थी, वो सब कुछ हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं. सो नाउ मूव टू दिस पर्टिकुलर स्लाइड. सो द ऋग्वेद इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी अर्लीस्ट कलेक्शन ऑफ ह्यूम्स अवेलेबल. जो ऋग्वेद है वो सबसे पुराना माना जाता है. सो वी शैल स्टार्ट बाय एग्जामिनिंग द ऋग्वेदा फॉर एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अर्ली वैदिक पीरियड एंड देन गो टू द अनदर वेज एंड अलाइंड टेक्स्ट which are replaced later. This exercise is necessary for two reasons. First, the Veds are taught to be composed of Aryans and it was no long believed that the Aryans played a major role in cultivating the Indian subcontinent. The content of Rig Veda, if they are analyzed carefully, do not give the impression of a very advanced material culture. On the other hand, many of the material traits which are characterized of the human civilization are already represented in non-Vedic agrological culture in different parts of India. Second, they are contents of Rig Veda are compared with the content of later Veds and aligned text. सबसे पहला हमारे पास जो वेद था उसको ऋग्वेद कहा जाता है. उसके बाद डिफरेंट टेक्स्ट आते रहे. अब यहाँ पे हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं ऋग्वेदा और डिफरेंट टेक्स्ट के बीच में एक कंपैरिजन. सो सबसे पहले हम लोग सोर्सेज की बात करते हैं. सोर्सेज सबसे पहले हम लोग लिटरेसी सोर्सेज की बात करते हैं. तो इसके अंदर हमारे पास 4 टाइप के वेदा आते हैं: ऋग्वेद, सामवेद, यजुर्वेद एंड अर्थावेदा. सो ऋग्वेद की बात करते हैं. तो सबसे पहले द वर्ड वेदा इज डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम द संस्कृत वर्ड विद, इट मीन्स टू नो. सो द वेद्स आर एसेंशियली अ compilation of prayer and hymns offered by different families of poets and saints to avoid gods. These 4 Veds are also Samhits in the sense of that they represent the oral tradition of the time. Since the hymns were meant to be recorded, learnt and transmitted orally, they were not written when they were first composed. Due to this reason, none of Samhits can be dated with absolute certainty. In fact, each Samhita represents a collection of through a period over a few centuries. So now archaeological sources. So excavation conducted in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, northern Rajasthan along with Indus and Ghaggar river over the last 40 years have unearthed many post-Hapan Chalcolithic settlements from these regions. So they have been dated from 700 BC to 600 BC. You have read about these century in next session. We have seen that these Chalcolithic culture are also called Harappa. So however, we must remember that pottery type do not reflect the entire culture of the people. Different pottery types do not necessarily mean that people who use these pots also different. Pottery analysis only helps in defining specific traits of culture assemblies, nothing more. सो सबसे पहले द आर्यन इन्वेक्शन की बात करते हैं. सो आर्थियोलॉजिस्ट हैव अटेम्प्टेड टू रिलेट द वेरियस पोस्ट हैपन कल्चर विद द आर्यंस. द पेंटेड ग्रे जो हमारे पास ग्रे पेंटेड wear pottery which have been dated between 900 BC to approximately 500 BC has been repeatedly connected with Aryan art craftsmanship. सो जो हमें इस पीरियड में मिला है उनको आर्यंस के साथ कनेक्ट किया जा रहा है. जो इसमें हमारे पास पोट्री मिली है उनको जो हमारे आर्यन थे उनकी क्राफ्टमैनशिप के साथ कंपैरिजन किया जाता है. सो basically the argument is based on influence which historians make from their analysis of literacy text. Hence archaeologists following legislative similarities found between Rig Veda and Avesta tried to find similarities in poetry forms, painting on ceremonies and form of copper object etc. between post-Harappa and the West Asian Iranian chalcolithic assemblies. Such similarities were magnified to support the view that the Aryans were a group of people who migrated from West Asia to Indian subcontinent. Thus, literacy and archaeological sources were made to support one another in order to validate the notion of migration. So, इकोनॉमी की बात करते हैं हम लोग. So, the early Vedic society was pastoral, cattle rearing being the dominant occupation activity. सो जो अर्ली वैदिक पीरियड था वो टोटली हमारे कैटल बेस्ड होता था. लोग पशुओं को पालते थे, उनसे एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस करते थे. सो बेसिकली जो वो पीरियड था उसमें लोग बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस्ड होते थे एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटीज़ के अंदर. सो द पोस्टल सोसाइटी रिलाइज मोर ऑन इट्स एनिमल वेल्थ देन एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस. Pastoralism is a subsistence strategy adopted by people who lived in areas where large-scale agriculture is not feasible due to some environmental and not a certain extent cultural constraint. So, hymns of Rigveda yields extensive evidence of importance of cattle in early Vedic society. Many linguistic expression in Rig Veda are associated with the cow, जिसको गऊ बोला जाता था, गऊ की पूजा की जाती थी. So cattle was the chief measure of wealth and wealthy man who owned many cattle was called गोमेट. So जिस पर्सन के पास बहुत ज़्यादा कैटल होती थी उसको गोमेट कहा जाता था, उसको एक अमीर पर्सन की तरह कंसीडर किया जाता था. So the terms used for conflict and battle is in this period was Gavesti, Gaviat, etc. The formal literacy means to search for cows. The term themselves suggest that possession of cattle was the bone of contention between group and lead to occasional inter-tribes fights and conflicts. The Pains, who were the enemies of Vedic people, are started in the Rig Veda to have happened there. Wealth, mostly cows in the mountains and forest. The Vedic god Indra was evoked to release these cattle. The reference suggested that cattle rides were very common. The Raja or the chief is called the Gopati or one who protect cow. In the Rig Veda, Godu Huli is used as a term for a measure of time. Distance is called Gavyuti. A daughter is called Duita and one who milks the cow. Kingship units are labeled as Gotra. देखिए अब बहुत सारे जो भी रिलेटेड हमारे पास नेम थे वो सारे के सारे काऊ से लिए गए, जिसको गऊ बोला गया। एक पर्सन जिसके पास बहुत सारे काऊ हैं उसको किंग कंसीडर किया जाता था। सो किंगशिप यूनिट्स आर लेबल्ड एज, जो किंगशिप यूनिट होती थी उनको गोत्रा कहा जाता था। और कुछ गोपति होते थे, गोपति जो राजा होते थे जिनके पास बहुत सारे काउज होती थी। सो ऑल दिस टर्म्स आर डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम काउ, दैट इज गौ, गऊ से, एंड सजेस्ट दैट सोशल रिलीजन एंड ऑल्सो द इम्पोर्टेंस एरिया ऑफ ऋग वेदा लाइफ सेंटर अराउंड rearing of cows. Literacy reference of pasture lands, cow pen, dairy products and domesticated animals are also found in most of the hymns and prayers. So compared to very substantial lingency evidence for cattle rearing in the Rig Veda, agriculture activity find very few references. Most of the references are agriculture area of a later date. Apart from Java or Bidli, no another gains are mentioned. Now move to other. सोसाइटी कैसी होती थी? एज वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, वहाँ पे किंगशिप होता था, किंग जो सबको डोमिनेट करता था। किंग वो पर्सन होता था जिसके पास बहुत ज़्यादा गायें होती थी, या फिर वो पर्सन जिसके पास बहुत ज़्यादा लैंड होती थी। सो द अर्ली वैदिक सोसाइटी वॉज ट्राइबल सोसाइटी इन विच द सोशल रिलेशनशिप बेस्ड अपॉन द किंगशिप टाइज were predominant. The society was not divided according to the caste lines, and even the rajas, king, priest and artisan etc. were a part of the clan network. The tribe was referred to as a jana, and many references to the different tribes are found in the Rig Veda. So intertribal conflict were frequent, an example being the battle of 10 kings mentioned in Rig Veda. Some of the tribes which fought in the battle were Bharats, the Parvs, Yaduts, the Ans. So tribe conflict are mentioned earlier were related to the cattle raids and cattle thieves etc. So the chief of tribe was the raja or the gopati, as we have already discussed. जो चीफ होता था वो गोपति होता था, जो रिंग वेदों में हमें जो बेसिकली 10 किंग्स की फाइट जो मेंशन की गई है वो फाइट भी कैटल्स को लेके ही हो पाती थी। सो ही वॉज द लीडर ऑफ द बैटल, जो हमारा गोपति होता था, किंग ऑफ दैट ट्राइब होता था, वो राजा होता था, एंड प्रोटेक्टर ऑफ द ट्राइब. His office was not based upon heredity, but he was selected from amongst the clansmen. So now polity की बात करते हैं. So the tribe polity was not completely egalitarian. A division is found in the Rig Veda itself. So which is seen in the reference of two groups, the Rajayans or those who fought the wars and are credited to be the senior lineage, and the rest of clansmen or the V's who formed the junior lineage. Though none of the group occupied a distinct social hierarchy, constant conflict and inter-tribe wars helped to create a division in the society. The growing needs for more pasture land, cattle for the protection of people and their settlement, all probably combined, contributed to an increase in inter and intra-tribal conflict and welfare. The Kains held large yajnas or sacrifices to help to warrior group in wars. Religion. So the religion idea of Vedic people are reflected in hymns of Rig Veda. So they venerated the natural forces around them like wind, water, rain, thunder, fire, which they could not control, and invested nature with divinity conceived in human forms which were mostly masculine. They were female deities. The religion was thus reflected the patriarchal society and was that of primitive animation. Now, question for all of you people. At the very beginning, my first question is, what are the four Veds? And my second question is, what do you understand by prostal society? So today we will wind up our session here. Next we will discuss in our next class. Till then, happy learning, we learning.